All right, we've got some stimulus news to get to. Now, I know it sounds like a broken record. You're probably sick and tired of hearing of it. I'm frankly sick and tired of reporting it. But we actually have some positive news. And this is the first time in a while that I could really say that, because a bill is being drafted as we speak. It's being called the Heroes 2 Act. Nancy Pelosi, optimistic, all smiles yesterday, because it appears that the White House and House Democrats have come to a basic, almost complete agreement on what the Heroes Act 2 will look like. A bipartisan bill developed by Steven Mnuchin, President Trump, Mark Meadows, and House Democrats. So here's Speaker Pelosi yesterday. You can hear, just pay attention to some of the little tiny sticking points that remain, but the bill is being drafted, it's being written up, and some of the little sticking points can be ironed out in committee. Very exciting stuff. And we could actually see this before Election Day. So here is Speaker Pelosi on Bloomberg answering these questions.
They've come a long way on that, I have to admit. So this morning, today, let me just say what the 48 hours was designed to do. For us to exchange all the unresolved issues. What is your best language? What is our best language? And let's see where we are. Now let's weigh the equities. We all want to get an agreement because people need it and it's urgent and our economy needs it. And so that's what, hopefully by the end of the day today, we'll know where we all are. We have one little bump in the road with the Appropriations Committee that is not sure they're going to be ready, but let's hope they are. We're starting to write the bill and then we can have the negotiation. But I'm optimistic.
Optimistic. Do you feel the optimism? Obviously, the devil's in the details. We don't know what's in the bill yet. That'll be the next round of reporting. Jeff Stein and others who are going to get access to some of this early on. We'll see if we can get some of this framework ahead of time. But as it's being written, there won't have to be a lot of new changes because the Heroes Act 1 was already written. So a lot of that will get scrapped. They'll be able to use a lot of the same language. And we should have a framework, an actual bill, by the end of the week, according to Nancy Pelosi. Now, that's exciting. Now, what about over in the Senate? Of course, that's the big question I'm sure you're all wondering, is whether or not Mitch McConnell will actually bring it to the floor for a vote. Now, according to the Senate Majority Leader's office, Mitch McConnell says that if the House passes an agreement, so it's not just having the bill, they have to pass an agreement. Remember, there are Republicans in the House. And if they're able to compromise and get a bill out of the House, Mitch McConnell says that he will put it to a vote at some point. Okay, that's a direct quote from Mitch McConnell. He will put it to a vote at some point. Now, that's where it's going to come down to President Trump. Get this thing passed. First of all, the Trump campaign needs this desperately. They are in deep trouble. We have close to 40 million Americans that have now early voted. Incredibly troubling signs for President Trump in a number of battleground states. They're running out of money very quickly. There's a lot of questions as to how in the world did they waste so much money. Brad Parscale, their former campaign manager, who was basically enriching his own lifestyle. They had $1 billion and they blew through it. I mean, it really is political malpractice that in October, you have to make the president of the United States, who's running for re-election, you had $1 billion. You have to fly to California to do a fundraiser in a state that you don't stand any chance of winning. So you had to go to California, which is a total waste of time, and do a fundraiser. So the Trump campaign is in a lot of trouble and they need this victory. Now, a lot of people have early voted. It's not clear that this would really move the needle one way or the other for the Trump campaign, but they need a Hail Mary pass. They're going to use anything they can at this point to be out there at the podium to try to bring some positive news to the American people a few days before the election, to say, look, we got a stimulus pass. I'm telling Mitch McConnell, bring it to the floor for a vote. We need this. The American people need it. That's where it would require presidential leadership. He hasn't shown it yet on this issue. He had all summer to show this issue, or this leadership, and he totally squandered it. Again, if I were the president and I was behind in these polls and I knew that I had a Hail Mary in my back pocket, which is stimulus, I'd be out at the podium every day reiterating how important it is for the American people. And Senate Republicans, you should be paying attention. Most Americans can't stand these entrenched Washington swamp creatures. That's what got Trump elected in the first place, and he's abandoned that position in many ways. He attacked Ted Cruz. He went after Marco Rubio. He went after these guys. If he went after them again and called them swamp creatures, it might move the needle for him. But hey, we have 13 days left. Not a lot can happen in this amount of time. But we could see a stimulus if Mitch McConnell actually brings this to a vote before Election Day. Either way, it's going to happen right around Election Day, before, a little bit after. It's coming. Now, not to be undone is Mitch McConnell and his wily band of Senate Republicans who never disappoint at being absolute failures, and we should absolutely vote these losers out. They're just awful. Awful, awful, awful. The worst of the worst, quite honestly. Heck, even Tucker Carlson wrote a book about how awful Mitch McConnell is. He's on the front cover of Tucker Carlson's book as a swamp creature. Nevertheless, so Mitch McConnell yesterday rolls out a new skinny bill over the past 24 hours, which is a little over $600 billion. Democrats in the Senate were floored by this. And right now, what you have happening is good cop, bad cop. So you see how happy Nancy Pelosi is. Just like, listen how happy and positive she's negotiating with the White House. She's trying to get something done here. Treasury Secretary Mnuchin is also playing good cop. He's been a great negotiator through this. So I like what he's actually been doing here. She's playing the positive role. Listen.
They've come a long way on that, I have to admit. So this morning.
So they've come a long way on that. I have to admit, I'm optimistic. Good job. We're working with them. She's calling Treasury Secretary Mnuchin every day. They're talking for hours a day. There's camaraderie there. They're working together. And then over in the Senate, Mitch McConnell rolls out this ridiculous $600 billion bill that's just a joke. It's just one joke after another from that Senate Republican caucus. And Senate Democrats, Chuck Schumer, get to play bad cop and just attack the Senate leadership. Listen.
We have so many different problems. And what do the Republicans do, Leader McConnell? A stunt. They can't get anything done. Their caucus is divided. Leader McConnell and Senate Republicans are the major barrier to preventing us from getting a bill. Because even when Mnuchin calls them up, they say no, they're not going to do anything. When the American people are suffering, to put this political stunt on the floor a second time is cruel.
It actually is cruel. I mean, that's a good way to describe it. Because if you read between the lines, you know that Republicans, they got their big bailout for businesses. Mitch McConnell gets most of his money from oil and energy companies, millions of dollars donated to his campaign over the years. He's bought and sold by big business. Ted Cruz as well. Rand Paul, all of these guys that said they're not going to vote for a stimulus because their big money donors got money. It is a stunt. It's disgusting. When you have the Federal Reserve Chief, Jerome Powell, saying we need large stimulus for the consumer, and you basically ignore the consumer and focus exclusively on businesses again. I mean, it's like you couldn't even write this script. Someone says, hey, we're going to write a Hollywood script. We're going to have this evil Republican. It's going to be the evil Republican, and he's going to just be in the bag for big businesses. People around the script writing table will be like, no, that's too obvious. That's just too obvious of a script. Sad thing is, it's so true. So, truth is stranger than fiction, right? But that's exactly what's going on here. So positive news that at least we will see a stimulus bill written by the end of the week through committee in the House, could come out of there and over to the Senate by as early as this weekend or early next week. Then it's up to Mitch McConnell, with about 7 to 9 days left before the election, to bring it to the Senate floor for a vote. Then to get it to the president's desk. We will be watching. Let's watch over the next few days to see if we see any kind of presidential leadership on this issue. Instead of just tweeting about stimulus, go big or go home, the president keeps saying that he wants his policy, his proposal, to be bigger than what the Democrats want. He keeps tweeting that he wants it to be larger than the $2.2 trillion that Democrats want. Well, let's see. Let's see in the next 48 hours what if he put up or shut up. Let's see. And let's see if he can strong arm Mitch McConnell to get this actually through. So if you are new here, please subscribe to the channel. And do me a favor, smash that like button, because what happens is when you smash that like button, it pushes us out to more people so they can learn about what's going on in their financial future, understand this corrupt government, how all of this works. So please smash that like button and subscribe to our channel. Really, really appreciate it.